Do you remember when we used to sing sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-ti-da? La-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-ti-da, la-ti-da. Pressurize this. Why open that up with that? Good morning, good evening, or afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in, what part of the globe you are on. I am your host, Brian G. So glad to be with you on this Sunday afternoon, almost evening. Anyway, that's okay. Ooh, man, I'll tell you what, this show requires a good tasting beer. We're going with Sapporo, premium beer from company that originated in Vietnam. And I have to say, they have great tasting whatever it is. I think this is barley. Come on now. Oh, okay, the imported by Sapporo Brewing Company in La Crosse, Wisconsin. But this is actually, I think it's distilled in Vietnam. Okay, well, all this time. So this is literally a product from Vietnam, and then they distribute it around the United States from Wisconsin. Okay. And it does taste good. Boy, this is very foamy. But that's okay. This is more of it's kind of a bitter form of Heineken. Yeah, so it's good. It's all good. How is everybody? Wow. Yeah, so this background is going to make me look like I've got an extra set of ears. Excellent choice. You're seeing double. Cross your eyes. Woo! There's the other one. Okay. Anyway, not that I want to look anything like this fuckwit. Wow. So yeah, my phone. Okay, so my phone is just going to continue to go off. I'm just going to have to silence it. All right. Wow. What a week. So Zuckerfuck is literally opened up a new app, a new platform, and called Threads. Do I have that right? Threads? Oh boy. Yeah, so this is where we're at. Unbelievable. Yeah, so the latest is that Elon Musk is angry and upset because Zuckerberg has outdone him yet once again. You know, this is what you get when you decide to make your platform welcome to Nazis, white supremacists, and chuckle fucks of all ages, creeds, and what have you. Well, this is what you're going to get. And immediately upon release, you had millions of people sign up. I mean, it blew up. I think they're at 90 million subscribers now, if memory serves. But yeah, it's amazing. Unbelievable. They have blown away. They have just outperformed. It's wild. It really is. It's wild. Now, I'm not a Zuckerberg fan. I do not care for Zuckerberg in that skin suit. Every picture I see of him, it's like he's like a parasite or an alien who's trying to pass off as human in a skin suit. He's just looking more and more weird every day. Anyway, all that aside, you got to give him props. So what happened was Elon Musk, we'll just refer to him as Elmo from here on out. He literally fired 80% of the Twitter staff. The people that he had working there. He cut 80%. And what Zuckerberg was doing is, as they were being fired, he was hiring as many as he could for them to work on a new platform, which is, it's like, it's linked to Instagram. It's like the written form of Instagram, you know. What did Elmo say? Oh, it's like Instagram, but without the thirst pictures. It's like, yeah, well, we know what you use Instagram for, you nasty fuck. Bilious fuck you. Anyway. But yeah, so yeah, Elmo is being a creep on Instagram. Who knew? And believe me, I don't want to know. I don't want to see him. I don't want anything to do with him. So I just don't care. So yeah, Threads is the new thing, I guess. It's like just what we needed, another social media app. I mean, Jesus. I mean, we just got on Tribal, and it's like we're trying to figure that out and keep that moving. And now we've got a Threads thing. It's like, do we really need a Threads presence? I mean, it's kind of promising. With that, I mean, you name a celebrity, name a politician, they're already on Threads. That really made my ears perk up, because I'm like, well, because every other app, whether it be Tribal, Spoutable, what's another one? Off the tip of my tongue, Post, anyway, name whatever app you want that's been made in the last 3 years. Counter Social. I mean, nobody is going. Mastodon, which has been around for a while, but that was supposed to be the new thing. Maybe, but it's like, but when I start seeing the media, celebrities, and politicians all flocking there, I'm thinking, ooh, there's something a little more to this that, that meets the eye. So I'm like, so I'm debating whether or not to start another social media presence. I'm probably going to do it because, I'm a glutton for punishment. Ugh. Yes, please. We just need more of this, right? Ugh. But yeah, that's the thing. That's what's going to happen. So yeah, so needling the thread, threading the needle. I don't know. I don't give a shit anymore. But yeah, this is what happens when you decide to destroy one of the most premier one of the most premier. It's basically, what can I say? It's like it's like the international square, market square. It's unbelievable. And Twitter is going down. And what is sad about this is Twitter used to be the go-to. If you wanted news before it hit the news, you went to Twitter. If there was a earthquake in your area, or there was a storm headed your way, or a disaster, you found it on Twitter fast. News media would go to Twitter to find out the latest and then do some fact checking. And then eventually it made the news. But yeah, Twitter was the place to go. And so here we are. Elmo has decided to tank Twitter. I don't know how else to say it. He is tanking Twitter. It's like self-sabotage. This motherfucker pays $44 billion. And it's like, how rich and entitled can you be where you don't even care if it turns a profit or if it succeeds? You don't even care if it makes you look bad. It's unbelievable. It really is. I mean, it's so glitchy now. It's to the point where it limits how many comments you read, basically how many tweets you view includes comments. So you could literally max out in a few hours for the entire day. And then you're limited to how many you can post. It's like, you know what? Just fuck off, Elmo. It's not worth it. And you're limited to who gets to see your posts. It's unreal. It is unreal. So yeah, this is where we are in this country. We've got more social media apps than you can shake a stick at. And it's not the end. So now we have more vectors of disinformation than we've ever had. That's great. Thanks a lot, Elmo. And I gotta give shade to Zuckerfuck because he did it too. He allowed disinformation cynically because the disinformation is what was getting clicks. And the more clicks you generate, hey, that's more money in your pocket. So the outrage and the feuding and the just absolute garbage, that's what was fueling Facebook. Right-wing disinformation is the most profitable. And so what Zuckerfuck decided to do to give himself an out was, well, I don't want to be the arbiter of what's true and what's not. It's like, no, there are what's fact, what can be shown to be true, and the rest is garbage. You're not being the arbiter. You're just saying, here are the facts. And we're not going to go with your flat earthism. We're not going to go with your blather, this stupidity. I mean, no, I don't care. Start your own blog, but we won't have it here. But Zuckerfuck loved the money. He wanted the money. And it was more important to him. So here we are. Here we fucking are. I don't know. It's like the world does not need another social media app, but yeah, I guess we do, because the assholes keep tanking it. It's like, and you know what's interesting is Zuckerfuck needed a lifeline. This Elmo tanking Twitter was a gift from baby Jesus. That's what it was. Because you have to understand, Zuckerfuck failed with his meta launch. I mean, it's an interesting concept. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem to be generating traction. You know, it's more like a virtual reality Disney theme park. It's like only the rich can afford it. So, or can afford to fool with it. And not everybody is ready to go into a virtual reality world. We're just not there. I mean, oh, yeah, I mean, you can say, oh, but he's just way ahead of his time. Well, that's the problem. He's ahead of the times. Maybe in 100 years, everything will be virtual reality. I don't know. But here in the real world, we're not there yet. So it doesn't really pay to be ahead of the time. Hey, Lenny, it doesn't pay to. He needs money now. So what does he do? He starts Threads. And I have to hand it to him. He used the very workers that staffed Twitter. I mean, there's not much genius in that. It's just good business. I mean, you have to be smart enough to know that. It's like, well, your competition is literally he's literally firing 80% of his workforce. Well, what do you think is going to happen to the remaining workforce? What's going to happen to the company? It's not like it's not like Elmo is replacing it with bigger and better people, smarter people. No, he's just firing them, and that's it. So that's where it's at. And so Zuckerfuck is like, I guess I'll hire them and we'll start our own thing. Literally giving them a project to work on. Why not? My goodness. And probably paid more than what Twitter was paying. I mean, Zuckerfuck can afford it. Can he not? Whew, I'm just going to sit back. I'm just enjoying this Vietnamese beer. If you ever get a chance, try that out. Sapporo Premium Beer. Found it at Walmart. Reasonably priced. So, okay, we've got to get to the stories. Oh my God, are there stories? Oh, Jesus. Okay. I hate to bring his name up. You remember Alex Jones? You know, the guy who's going to literally lose his ass in court? Who actually did. He lost big fucking time. And he's going to be going to court again. He's going to be one of those people that is going to be in and out of courts, I think, for the rest of his life, along with Donald Trump. Alex Jones just doesn't look well. He's not long for this world. I don't know. I mean, this guy is just, ugh. Will it let us? What if we read this article? Let me know if you can hear it.
Just a quick word from our sponsor.
There's a new score in store. Home Essentials just arrived at Marshall's. Our buyers scored deals on the latest decor trends to update your space, like rattan accent furniture, unique wall art, and more. With great deals always arriving, see what's new at Marshall's. More brands, more quality. Marshall's. Get the good stuff.
Alex Jones begs for God to destroy the earth for the children. Far-right conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has a new desperate prayer to God. Kill everyone. Speaking on his Sunday show, Jones's logic was a little convoluted, but essentially he wants the world to be blown up before anyone else can do it. And we also have to talk to the establishment and just say, listen, you know, Boston will give you absentia. You can go and take some of your stolen money, Jones rambled. People say, don't be a wimp. We want vengeance. No. You look at how wars get ended properly because you just mark them. You expose them. By mark them, I mean mark them in the media. You expose them, and then you destroy their names politically and culturally, and then you let them go because they will blow stuff. They will blow the planet up if they're cornered now. Now I'm trying to give the globalists a way out, Jones tried to explain. The globalists are losing and might blow up the planet. But if they are going to win, then God should blow up the planet now for the sake of the children. Recently, Raw Story wrote about Jones claiming that Donald Trump knew of an assassination plot and that he was ready to die. Nothing has happened. Jones was also desperate to promote a conspiracy theory that President Joe Biden was killing Secret Service agents within days of finding the cocaine in the White House. No agents have died. See the video in the clip below or at the link here.
Wow. Isn't that interesting? This is New Old Testament stuff. Destroy the earth to save the children. I have heard this excuse so many times when someone defends the deplorable actions that took place in the Old Testament. Whereas, we had to, this entire country had to be wiped off the face of the earth because they were engaged in child sacrifice. And I'm like, you realize you're killing the very children you're trying to say. What does it matter then what their form of death is? They're still dead. How are you saving them? This is Old Testament quackery. Yes, but this is Alex Jones. He's scared. He's getting cornered when if this guy were in power, he would literally nuke the earth. He would press that red button and he would self-destruct this son of a bitch. Because he is cornered. He is up shit creek and he knows it. And so he's like, oh, there's a God, please, just destroy the earth. Ugh, this blabbering fool. I'm surprised he hasn't stroked out yet. I mean, with all the shenanigans he's pulled, ugh. Yeah, I mean, this guy is just drinking himself to death. But, yeah, oh well. Yeah, and these are the people that vote like this fool does. And mentally delusional doesn't even cover it. Ugh. This is scary. I mean, these are the people. Yeah, Christian flag. Yeah, gotta love it. Jesus, son of Judah. Listen to this.
I'm happy right now because I haven't seen near as many rainbow flags and rubbish as we seen last year.
They're making the kids wear these flags and these hats. Yes. Right? And it's like, don't make the kids wear these flags and these hats and make it their entire personality.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They make it their whole identity. They've got the shirts, they've got the flags, they got the hats, they got the shirts. It's like it's their whole personality. You got these people with these flags, they're waving it in our faces.
Right. I don't care if you're gay.
They just don't wave this flag in my face. These flags everywhere that they wave around in everyone's face. It's become their entire personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have the
I don't know if this guy that's interviewing these people, he's been doing this for a couple of years now. I cannot believe they don't recognize him on site. Well, actually, I can believe that. If you're in a bubble, you're not getting any news on what's going on outside your little sphere. But these people have no concept. They have no self-awareness. No self-awareness. They're literally doing the very thing they're complaining about. I'm watching some of their faces and I'm like, they have to, there's a small part of them that realizes that's what we're doing. But it's like they push it down so that they can maintain whatever this belief that they're, vocalizing. But it's like, do they not see that they're being talked at? They're being laughed at.
These people with their flags and their hats that they wave around in everyone's faces, and it's become their entire personality.
I live in a place where everybody is gay. I could say
You can't say gay, it's Florida.
Oh, no, that's only at Disney.
You should have seen how it looked me trying to just get on a flight to get down here with a MAGA hat on. They treated me like I was Osama bin Laden.
It's become harder.
Well, Osama bin Laden and his belief system, it literally overlaps with yours. That's probably why, these people believe that they have the right to take up arms against the government. Show me the difference between the Taliban and these people, besides skin color and language. Come on.
To be open about your identity nowadays. Right?
Yeah, people just need to speak up. They need to say what they believe. I'm a straight male as well.
You're a straight white male.
And I'm proud of that.
You should see my truck. I can't see out my back window because I got so many bumper stickers. Just on a Saturday or Sunday, I got nothing to do. I put my flags out and I ride through town to remind everybody.
I can't wear a MAGA hat in some places because, some people don't like that identity. Can you imagine like going someplace and being attacked just for your identity? It's crazy.
Unbelievable. Yeah, so Walter Masterson, he's been doing this. I can't believe they don't get it. They're not seeing it. And believe me, no, it is not funny at all. It's sad funny. I don't know. Oh, here's another one I wanted to show. Yeah, he is funny. I love Walt. I want to see him write that check for $1 billion to the Sandy Hook parents. That's the funny thing. I mean, this guy has played so many shell games with his company, hiding his money, trying to keep. I'm like, why don't the feds just come in, arrest him, and seize all of his funds? Why draw this out? Why are they making the Sandy Hook parents suffer waiting? I don't know. Here we go.
People on the right are the biggest snowflakes on the face of the planet.
No shit.
And you guys got me fucked up. Not only do you lack the critical thinking skills to understand the difference between social cancellation and government cancellation,
yeah, to them it's no difference.
To understand that all you're doing is projecting.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you point your finger at a liberal for something, there are 4 more fingers pointing back at you. You people claim to be anti-censorship, anti-cancel culture.
Nope.
And yet you people are voting
Ask the
for
Dixie
politicians
Chicks
that are doing just that. And I'm done with saying that you're incompetent, because you understand exactly what the fuck is going on. You accuse liberals of needing safe spaces, but in places like
except Rumble and Getter and Truth Central, those are safe spaces. You try going on those websites and being critical of MAGA, they will kick your can all over the place. They will, before they yeet you right off the platform. So yeah.
Tennessee, laws have been passed making it illegal for someone to dress in drag because it makes you feel some sort of way. But something like this is not only perfectly legal, but if I were to say something against it, you would accuse me of infringing on someone's First Amendment. You people have seriously made this country go fucking backwards because you didn't feel safe. And then you use your fucking kids as a vessel for your hate. We're protecting the kids. We're protecting the children. Meanwhile, the only thing you're protecting is your inability to coexist with people who aren't like you. I don't like this. Ban it. I don't like this. Pass a law. I don't understand this. I don't want to take the time to understand it. Make it illegal. One side is just trying to exist in this world. And on the other side, you just may be hiding the fact that you are exactly what you're accusing others of being. If I point the finger at someone else, no one's going to be looking at me. Your churches are filled with abuse. Your conservative politicians are on Grindr. You accuse immigrants of sucking off the system, and you're on welfare. Look over there, not over here. Trans women are taking away your womanhood, not us calling for your execution if you have a fucking abortion. You're dangerous because
this is
you're
what they're
losing.
doing.
You are losing this war, and you will lose this war in the end. So keep celebrating your little battles of legislation and bills, because that shit's just temporary. And the evil and the hate that you carry in your hearts will never prevail. History shows us that every fucking time. And when the day of defeat comes, and it will, if you don't like it, bye.
Yeah, there. Speaking of that, she just touched on it. There was an article on CNN that just popped in my feed. Woman in her 40s literally had to take 2 flights from her state to another state just to get health care. Just to get health care. Unbelievable. And what do we get? What do we get? What do we see? What's the big news? Oh, 2 billionaires are going to be in a cage match. It's like, oh, fuck. The planet is on fucking fire. We have refugees fleeing climate change, disasters mitigated by climate change. Trans people are being hunted and threatened online and in real life. And they're being stalked. Oh, speaking of which, speaking of transgender, Plastic Martyr still fighting a good fight. Unbelievable.
First off, let me just start off by saying you don't have to believe it. In fact, you could go to your grave now.
Okay, let's go ahead and restart.
Kitty looks like. No, I am not offended by this question. Thank you for asking.
You know, I find this video very interesting.
So I watched that whole video, which was cringe as fuck on so many levels. So many levels. But I'm happy to answer your concerns over my body, ma'am.
And no hate to the creator or the person who asked the question. But as a woman, I somehow just don't believe it.
First off, let me just start off by saying you don't have to believe it. In fact, you could go to your grave not believing it.
What do you not believe?
However, what I said in my video was 1000% true. My kitty cat is stunning. She functions phenomenally. She's top of the line. The Chanel of kitty cats.
Okay.
And the reason why is because
all right,
we still to this day cannot get the woman's anatomy correct in medical books.
What?
Nor can
what
we
medical
get
what medical books are you even reading
to acknowledge those very erogenous and important parts of the woman body that for centuries have been ignored.
Now, I don't know what books you're reading or what doctors are
right
to that don't actually know the correct anatomy down there. But my surgeon, Dr. Marcy Bowers, feel free to look her up. She's phenomenal. She's a gynecologist as well as a surgeon. So this is kind of her field. She's been doing this for years and she is a master at it. And I think would know a little bit more about this than you. In fact, her miracles are not just performed on trans people. No, they're performed on cis people as well. Every year she goes to Africa and performs surgery on women who are victims of FGM, actual genital mutilation.
Oh, geez.
She's able to restore their clitoris and give them sensation back. Undo what those horrible people that actually mutilated them did. Pretty cool, huh? So I'm guessing she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
When I heard about that, I paid for 2 of those surgeries because the work that she does is absolutely life-saving and incredible for both trans and cis people. Now, this is one of my favorite parts. Wait for it.
So which is it? Are we just ignoring biological women's sexual important parts of our body, but yet giving them to trans women?
So as far as your claim goes that we are ignoring biological women's bodies and giving them to trans women.
What?
Honey, nobody
Who's
donated
giving
their kitty to me. This was all mine. You realize that peepees and Chinese are not that different. They really aren't.
I was
pretty
shocked
much
to
the same
realize
thing for
how
the most
similar
part.
they
You
are.
also realize that we all start off as female, right? All of us, even
Yep.
you. Then shit starts to change based off what hormones are with you in the womb. So my doctor simply rearranged shit to be where it would be had I been born biologically female. And yes, I'm lacking some parts. A uterus, a cervix. None of that shit matters to me. It doesn't make me any less of a woman. Now I know the TERFs are going to jump in the comments and be like, actually, that doesn't. But it doesn't. Plenty of cis women are born without uteruses. Actually, I believe it's 1 in 5,000 women are born without a uterus. So they're still women. As am I. So I hope that answered some of your questions and concerns.
My
Clearly, you have a
goodness.
lot that you need to learn
No
still.
yeah, no shit.
The information is out there. Don't be afraid to research it. Best of luck to you, ma'am.
And find a filter because that's not working. I mean, she looks like she is dehydrated. I mean, she's like leather. Okay, so somebody online asked her, "What does your kitty cat look like?" And that's a euphemism for, lady parts, but basically saying, it's got to be some cis man asking, "Oh, what does your vagina look like?" And she's like, "Okay, I'll tell you." And this lady comments and saying, like, expounding her ignorance, like, I don't believe it. It's like, okay, well, so what? You don't believe it. Okay. And then she's like, oh, all of the medical journals and the doctors are ignoring the women's parts. It's like, what medical books are you even reading? First of all, female genitalia is covered extensively. It's almost uncomfortable, the amount of data you can find. It's like, trust me, science has not ignored a thing. Okay, there isn't an overwhelming abundance of information on female genitalia, if you must know. And then she's of the delusion that actual women are donating their genitalia so it can be used for trans women. If your mind blanked out, trust me, I'm with you. She thinks it's like organ donating, like you're donating an organ to somebody who needs it, like a kidney or what have you, or blood. She is delusional into the point she thinks that a vagina is being donated to a trans woman. I'm like, yeah, right. She shouldn't be around comic books. That's how dangerous information is. Somebody like her would read a medical journal and just screenshot. They would literally take a phrase from a journal and say, see this, it's like, no, you didn't read the entire study. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Go away. Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. This is what she thinks. This is how these goofballs think. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, well, fret not. There Okay, so I guarantee you she's single. She has to be. How she can't be with somebody. I mean, she would literally have to find somebody that's dumber than she is to make it work because, oh my God. But fret not, if she's single, guess what? There is a site for you. Oh, yes. Yo, yes. Oh, yes. There's a Republican singles dating site. And look what they've got. Man seeking man, man seeking a woman, woman seeking man, woman seeking woman. Oh, how progressive. Let's read the description because it is so small. You need a magnifying glass. So I'm going to get up in here and let's see. Let's read the description of this Republican singles dating. You have always been more on the conservative side. You are open-minded. However, when you vote in elections, you will always choose Republican. But they're open-minded. I got to get through this. You have grown up this way and can't see yourself ever being anything else. Because you're open-minded. Now, with Republican singles dating, you can avoid being asked whether you're a Republican or Democrat because with our site, we only cater to one political view. But we're open-minded. Who wrote this? They should be fired. I'm sorry. You should have kept open-minded out. We have hundreds of interesting singles on our site, and you will love the selection once you get online and sign up. With singles from all over, including places such as Kentucky, Alabama, Florida, Texas, and many more. You will have a blast making great conversations and possibly turning it into something more. I'm sorry. What conversations are you having with a Republican? What are you having? How bad the Democrats suck and how bad the liberals are, and I can't stand what they're forcing this agenda down our throats, and this is this woke that. I mean, seriously, what are you having? I mean, basically, the only way to connect is with mutual gripes at this point. Whether you are searching for love to create a family with the same political views, or you are looking for a friend to talk politics and go to rallies with. Okay. They left Klan out of rallies. Then you have come to the right spot. Imagine not having to go out to clubs hoping to meet someone. And when you do, you find out that they are more democratic than you wanted. But we're open-minded. I can't. Now you can sit back in the comfort of your home and browse through the profiles with a click of a button. If this sounds like something that you would like to do, then all you need is a profile with some pictures and a description of what you are looking for. Go ahead and add in some words about yourself, including your interests, dreams, profession, and anything else you would like for someone to know about you. Once that is done, you can message whomever you think is cute and see if they return your message. Take a chance and get online with Republican singles dating now. Disclaimer: 100% free basic membership allows you to browse the site, view profiles, send flirts, and modify your profile. Charges will accrue if you purchase a premium membership, which is offered upon completion of your profile. There it is, folks. MAGA. I mean, sign me up. Sign me up. Oh God, Alabama, date their cousins. Yeah. And you'll be able to find the assholes with casseroles, the Moms for Liberty on there. Yeah, because you're gonna, they're gonna be going. Some of them are gonna be going through a divorce. Geez, I wonder how many of their spouses are cheating on that site. Oops. Oh, yes. Ugh. Ugh. Ick. Farmers only dating is better. Well, I mean, probably more inclusive. I mean, shit. But yeah, there you go. Please sign up. Are you lonely tonight? Da 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 da. Jesus is not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. All right, we're gonna play that video too. Yes, we're gonna do it after this ad. Away. Thank you. Skip trial. Good God, these ads are just evasive. All right. All right, let's get biblical. And just for that, I'm going to change my virtual background to, nope, not that. Let's see. How about that? Ooh, peaceful. Okay. Tovia Singer. We haven't done him in a little while. I don't think we did one last. Did we do one last week? I can't remember. I can't remember last week, and I was just there. Here we go.
Okay, let's say we go back in time to first century Jerusalem, and we go to some Sadducees there, and they have their Torah, their Tanakh, and we walk up to him, and we're like, "Hey, the Messiah is here, is Jesus, and he's going to die for you, or he died for your sins on the cross." What are they going to say to that? Is this going to be? What are they going to say?
They would say exactly what an American would say if you claimed that David Koresh, who died in Waco in a confrontation with federal agents, was the Messiah.
Oops.
And there are Branch Davidians in the United States who still believe that.
Yeah.
And his name was David. Do you think that's just an accident? And he visited Jerusalem. David Koresh spent plenty of time here in Israel studying in yeshiva among Jews. Don't you get it that David Koresh is really the Messiah? But he had to die. He had to die with so many because he gave his life for you. And how would an American respond? They go, "You have lost your mind." There's nothing about David Koresh's death, violent death, along with so many other souls.
Well, also, I wonder if he gets into it, but David Koresh, the word Koresh is Cyrus. David Koresh believed he was the reincarnation of King Cyrus. I was a little blown away when I heard that, and I'm like, eesh. I mean, I've heard some of his sermons online. This guy was out of his mind. And he comes from the white power movements, the separatists. So that's where he got his start, in the doomsday cultism of the preppers, the racist white power movements that were, anti-government. The ones that Timothy McVeigh was connected to.
In right outside of Waco, Texas, that bears no resemblance to anything in the book of Isaiah. I encourage you, the viewer, to consider just looking at the claims of Christianity of the New Testament and then looking at the Hebrew Bible. Does it match or not? See, Christianity can be falsified easily because it's making claims that it's the fulfillment of the Hebrew Bible. So when we open up Isaiah chapter 2, let's say you're in New York City for a moment. You're driving on the FDR Drive. You might have done this. You see the United Nations on First Avenue, and you see
I don't think he understands. Does he know what falsifiable means? That's a scientific term. I don't think he should use that term.
42nd Street on the northeast corner, the quote from Isaiah chapter 2. It's engraved. It's called the Isaiah Wall. Okay, millions of people come there to visit just to see that. And it says there that the nations, it's a messianic passage, it'll be at the end of days, that the Messiah will rebuke nations. They will take their swords and beat them into plowshares, their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not lift up sword against nation, neither will they learn of war anymore. Okay, how? That's a you. So see, the Jewish Bible is very comfortable about making highly falsifiable claims. It'll just stop raining if you don't listen to me. Not you'll go to hell because you can't check that out. There's no verification. If you are not loyal to the God of Israel, I'm going to send you into exile 70 years. That's highly falsifiable. And then they're going to be exiled again. It's going to be a long exile.
Okay.
You are going to return to Jerusalem.
Right.
Those are the kinds of claims that whoever wrote the Jewish Bible is making. The Christian Bible is saying that we are the true version fulfillment of the Jewish Bible. Luke 24:44, 2 Timothy 3:16. This is all over the place. I mean, John, if you would have believed in Moses, you would have believed in me because he wrote about me. Really, there is nothing weird. Not only that, here the epic messianic prophecy in Isaiah chapter 2. I mean, Isaiah chapter 2, these are so famous that even the United Nations, I'm not a fan, okay? But even the United Nations has it on a wall, okay? Do you know that Isaiah chapter 2 is never quoted in the New Testament? It's not even quoted. It's never mentioned. It's a scam. The whole thing is a scam. So what they do is they put in healing the blind, which is nowhere in the Hebrew Bible, and they don't quote the stuff that would be, if Jesus brought about a world peace when nations would stop fighting and there'll be a worldwide knowledge of God, we'd know about that today. Moreover, has there been another religion that's been more bloody than the church? The bloodiest religious war in human history was fought between Christians. It was an intra-Christian war, the 30-year war that lasted from 1618 to 1648. Protestant Catholics slaughtered each other.
Other Christians for not being Catholic. You got inquisitions on the Jews. You got crusades on the Muslims. You got witch trials on pagans. They're killing everybody, and they're going to war against anybody who opposes them. So it's not an era of peace. In fact, it's an era, in my opinion, in my own history digging, the 1,000 years from 400, I'd say, or around the time of Jerome, to like 1500 is a backslidden time for the West, I think.
Even in the Christian Bible, they're fighting like crazy. I mean, in truth, that we can doubt many things about the New Testament, but one thing that definitely passes that high bar of the criteria of embarrassment is that the earliest Christians were fighting each other. In the letters of Paul, Paul is generally not fighting with Jewish people who are not Christians, people like me. Paul's battles that he had is with fellow Christians. I mean, almost all of his writings are about fellow Christians. He couldn't get along with Barnabas. I mean, he's the guy who introduced him to the apostles. He wouldn't travel with John Mark. He embarrassed Peter to his face in Antioch. Galatians chapter 2, verse 11. It is inconceivable that this would have been invented. This is so embarrassing. He mocked the so-called pillars of the church in Galatians 1 and 2, and in Philippians, in 2 Corinthians chapter 11. He not only mocked them, but questioned if they're saved. There's no way in the world that someone would have invented that. So in reality, Paul is this guy. You must have met people like this who just can't get along with anyone. I mean, there's people who just, that was Paul. Paul was a guy who was not fighting with Jews, like religious Jews. There's very little of that. It is, but very little. Almost all of the nasty things that he had to say were fellow Christians, fellow believers in Jesus, who did not hold to Paul's Christology.
Oh, sparks fly. Yeah, so that's it. I mean, that is true. I do like that they point out the schisms and the just, I mean, Paul went after the Jerusalem church leaders. I mean, he went after them hard. He even called them fake Jews, the ones who claim they are Jews and are not. I mean, he went after them hard. And basically told his followers, do not believe anybody. If anybody preaches to you any other gospel other than what you have received from us, have them thrown out of the church, have nothing to do with them. I mean, that's pretty wild. That is what a control freak the Apostle Paul was. Anyway, do I want to go through this?
Christ belong to us. Why you don't understand that you cannot film because it is belong to us?
Because it's on the outside and people can film on the outside.
But this something is a private property. You cannot without the permission of the owner.
So I don't think so. No, I don't.
But you should, because apparently you're a man with a camera. You should know that you cannot video in a property. This is according to the law here.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Well, you believe that's
all right, and then the police will tell me, then that's fine.
I got to say, I watched the video that you had posted with you in Jerusalem in front of the Messianic Christian Jews for Jesus, whatever that was. I was very taken back. And then to see what was going on, the guy who was the main priest there, it was really weird because it looked like he was trying to like intimidate you to make you go away. What really happened there?
What's very striking about this place is it was built in the mid-19th century for the purpose of converting the Jewish population, a growing, beleaguered Jewish population in Jerusalem, to convert them to Christianity. We're talking about 1849. And a massive amount of money was extended for the propagation of the gospel among the Jews. In fact, that's the name of the organization that was behind the whole thing. It was just to convert the Jews to Christianity. using Jewish symbols and icons, but it's an Anglican church. Here, if you look on top, there it is, Jeremiah chapter 31, describing days are coming, saith the Lord, that will forge a covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, a Brit Chadashah, a new covenant, another name for a New Testament. You get the message. It's a center of operations in Israel. It's not the only center, it's not the largest, but it's certainly the most striking one. The whole purpose of that church was to bring the Jews to the church, and we call it the Old City. Bear in mind that in 1849, that was the only Jerusalem. There was no one living outside of what we call the Old City of Jerusalem prior to 1860. Spiritually, they want Judaism to come to an end. It's very much a story of Hanukkah. The other thing about them is that, and I think it's why it shook up the leaders, there was quite a number of missionaries from that church that came out while we were filming, is that they want to pass themselves off as just legitimate. Like they're just another church in the Old City of Jerusalem. We're just like everybody else. And they're not, because this place was built for the purpose of converting the Jewish people. And this place really supports unambiguously Jewish evangelism. They weren't happy with it. And I was filming on the street, on the sidewalk, on a public area. Their church was in the background. They wanted to make the case that when they owned the sidewalk, and I made it clear to them they didn't know it was public. On the bottom, again, a Jewish message. This is not typical church stuff. This is not typical Anglican stuff. The rector of the church is coming in. The gathering here in the evening on the day of Sabbath is what time? Please ask inside and find out when will the Sabbath services be happening. Because in this place, they actually house a Messianic congregation that meets and greets on the Shabbos day. What they oppose is the Jewish faith. What they're committed to is baptizing the Jewish people, converting them to the Christian faith. That's why the rector, the guy behind me, is literally the head priest of this church. And as it turns out, this church is essentially a progenitor to other Messianic congregations all over the land of Israel, hundreds of them that are preaching the gospel to Jewish people. And they do this in a way by blurring the distinction between Judaism and Christianity in order to lure Jews who would otherwise resist.
We respect you. We respect your right to argue against us, to disagree with us.
Disagree, that's
but
all.
also, you need to respect my right. Every religious group
I do.
needs to
I
stand
do.
up
I
and
do.
believe
This
or
is
stand
a
up for the
competition
truth
of ideas.
that it understands.
That's right. Right.
Okay.
So that's
But
right.
Why am I letting you, right?
You're not letting me.
Yeah.
This is not North Korea.
No.
Christians have not been in control of. No, this is not your property. It's not. It isn't. No, you don't. You own that building, but you don't know. You don't own this. This is not. No, you don't.
No, that's not true. The property line is from here.
No, that's not true.
No, it is true.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. This gate is yours. Look, I'm not interested.
How come this is our building?
What's that? This is your building, but this is not your building.
This is our building here.
That's true. That is your building. That's a Messianic. Let me just do it this way here. That look there. That you see. Okay, if you could film that, a manual Messianic gift shop. And you see there's a symbol of a fish intertwined with a symbol of a Jewish star and a menorah. The fish that you see there is one of the most ancient Christian symbols. It's older than using the cross as a symbol of Christianity. So what it is merging together the fish, which stands for Jesus Christ, and the star, the Jewish Star of David, in order to produce something where the lines have been blurred. And that, in effect, helps Jewish people, in their view, come to know about Jesus or Yeshua HaMashiach. In fact, inside, you have the Lord's Prayer. It's in Hebrew.
You also have the Ten Commandments.
And not only that.
Well, you also have the Ten Commandments.
So,
then again, you've never been inside. And I know you think it's Marit Ein, but you won't find any Avodah Zarah inside. You're welcome to have a look.
You worship a man as God. You believe in the doctrine of the Trinity. You pray. God says that I am not a man that I lie. I won't change my mind. I'm not immortal. And you
two cults arguing with each other. I gotta love it.
The Chief Rabbi of Israel. Yes.
Yes. How is that? If you read the scholarship of someone like Shaul,
we're talking about the Bible. Yes.
Yes, and the place of the rabbis in Hasidut.
So maybe that's our difference. We believe that the Bible is a final authority, and you think some rabbi or some professor university is your authority. I'm quoting scripture, and you're quoting universities. I would say that's possibly our difference.
I wouldn't have.
So there you have it. The oldest church in the Old City of Jerusalem. I'll correct that. This is the oldest Protestant church here in Jerusalem, built in 1849 with enormous funds from the London Society for the Propagation of the Gospel among the Jewish people. That's why they came here. Jewish people flocked to Jerusalem in the 19th century because of earthquakes in the north, in Sfat in particular, and therefore they needed a place to run, and they came here to Jerusalem. The church got wind of this. The Anglican Church realized that something had to be done to bring the Jewish people to the church, to bring them to the cross. They set up hospitals here in Jerusalem. The purpose was to bring the Jewish people to know about Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Missionaries connected to this do go to Jewish site and film. They don't ask permission from the rabbi. You know that.
No, but this,
very well.
This is not some general Jewish.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, you live in Jerusalem, and it's important for you to get along with the people who are here in Jerusalem, the Jewish people. And if we have a different view about God, there's nothing for you to hide.
Even your different view, but one perusal of your website shows me you folks have no idea what you're talking about when you talk about either this church or.
There's nothing on my site about this church. So I think you're making that up, right? There's something on my site that mentions this church. My name is Tovia.
Tovia, sorry.
And you're the rector. You're the Anglican priest there.
Anglican priest.
Okay. Moreover, Romans chapter 1, verse 16. That's the kind of commission we're talking about here. I'm not ashamed of the gospel. It's the power unto salvation to everyone who believes, to the Jew first, and then to the Gentile. So this is the Hanukkah message. And that's why he's speaking here. He is here, but no, it's good. This is the best thing he could be doing. Because what he's doing is he wants to speak to be able to stop the message. It's not going to happen. It won't work. He wants to stand there so that you don't get it in there.
They host a Messianic congregation on the Shabbat. It's a center of operations in Israel. It's not the only center, it's not the largest, but it's certainly the most striking one.
I don't think you quite have this figured out.
Well, I think we do. We've been around for a while. And number two is, I want you to know this. I can tell you this. I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
For an Anglican priest, you're unusual. You surprise me. I'll tell you why. Because generally speaking, the people of the cloth, people who are actually ordained, go a little bit easier and say, you know what, I understand why Jewish people might be offended, just listen out, might be offended by this. And we are trying to reach the Jewish people and others with the gospel, and I could understand why Jews might be offended and would want to respond to that message in a peaceful way, using the words and the merit of our conversation. You've got to be the first guy to win the award of being an ordained. I just thought you were just some guy, but you're not. You're an ordained Anglican priest. It's unusual. I'll just tell you that. You are very unusual. This place is proud to have converted thousands of Jewish people to the church. In fact, when it was built back in 1849, that was the mandate. It was a mandate about bringing the gospel to the Jewish people right here in Yerushalayim. And that's why he's talking to me while I'm broadcasting. I mean, if he were broadcasting, I wouldn't be walking into the thing. And by the way, I would welcome that. I would welcome that. I wouldn't, because if I'm inside, I'm under your control. So there you go. The message is, happy Hanukkah. We'll continue to celebrate Hanukkah. The spiritual light will continue, and the church will not be able to stop it. He could stand in front of the lens, but he can't put out the light of Hanukkah.
You know, I just read a Times of Israel article where Jews are going hard after some of these people. The ones that are trying to convert the Jews into Christianity. They are going hard. They're getting violent too. It's like, yikes. I will not condone that, but goodness. They're sick and tired of right-wing Protestantism infecting their country. I mean, if you've been paying any attention to what Israel has been doing, I mean, for the last 35, 40 years, they have been sliding down into fascism. It's full on right-wing fascism at this point. They now have a leader, Ben Netanyahu. That is, I mean, he is as fascist as they come. He's got multiple investigations into his corruption. I mean, he wants to abolish he wants to control the judiciary, because that's the branch of government that is going after him the hardest. And he wants to either do away with it or bring it under his control. And he's been doing that for a long time. And now he's back in power. It's like, God, they just got rid of this guy and now he's back in. It's like, God. You know, and they're just, I mean, illegal settlements are going up all over the place. They want to eradicate Palestinians and basically cleanse the land. I mean, this is just full on Zionism. Anybody who's non-Jew, kick them out and then build Jewish settlements, which is again defying UN agreements. They made UN agreements and signed accords, and they're violating just about every single one of them. And they don't care. It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? You know, that's what, I mean, Palestinians that have lived in their homes for a century are being kicked out of their homes right now. Palestinians that are in their 80s, 90s, and 100s who were alive before Israel became a nation, who lived in those homes for almost a century, are being forcibly removed from their homes. And then they're seeing their homes demolished. Ancient buildings just bulldozed so that they can put an Israeli settlement there. Unbelievable. That's where we're at. Happy Hanukkah. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, that's what's happening. And now I'm not saying Tovia Singer is part of the violent clashes between Christians actively converting Jews. I'm not saying it's all he's into that, but yeah, it's getting real. It's getting real 100 over there. Anyway, talking about violent, let's listen to Daniel chapter 5, because we just don't have enough Bible in our lives. Ugh. Religion poisons everything. That just keeps coming to mind.
Daniel 5. King Belshazzar made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords and drank wine in front of the 1,000. Belshazzar, when he tasted the wine, commanded that the vessels of gold and of silver that Nebuchadnezzar his father had taken out of the temple in Jerusalem be brought, that the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines might drink from them. Then they brought in the golden vessels that had been taken out of the temple, the house of God in Jerusalem. And the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines drank from them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. Immediately the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall of the king's palace opposite the lampstand. And the king saw the hand as it wrote. Then the king's color changed, and his thoughts alarmed him. His limbs gave way, and his knees knocked together. The king called loudly to bring in the enchanters, the Chaldeans, and the astrologers. The king declared to the wise men of Babylon, "Whoever reads this writing and shows me its interpretation shall be clothed with purple and have a chain of gold around his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom." Then all the king's wise men came in, but they could not read the writing or make known to the king the interpretation. Then King Belshazzar was greatly alarmed, and his color changed, and his lords were perplexed. The queen, because of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banqueting hall, and the queen declared, "O king, live forever. Let not your thoughts alarm you, or your color change. There is a man in your kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. In the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, were found in him. And King Nebuchadnezzar, your father the king, made him chief of the magicians, enchanters, Chaldeans, and astrologers. Because an excellent spirit, knowledge, and understanding to interpret dreams, explain riddles, and solve problems were found in this Daniel, whom the king named Belteshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation." Then Daniel was brought in before the king. The king answered and said to Daniel, "You are that Daniel, one of the exiles of Judah, whom the king my father brought from Judah. I have heard of you that the spirit of the gods is in you, and that light and understanding and excellent wisdom are found in you. Now the wise men, the enchanters, have been brought in before me to read this writing and make known to me its interpretation, but they could not show the interpretation of the matter. But I have heard that you can give interpretations and solve problems. Now, if you can read the writing and make known to me its interpretation, you shall be clothed with purple and have a chain of gold around your neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom." Then Daniel answered and said before the king, "Let your gifts be for yourself, and give your rewards to another. Nevertheless, I will read the writing to the king, and make known to him the interpretation. O king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar your father kingship and greatness and glory and majesty. And because of the greatness that he gave him, all peoples, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whom he would, he killed, and whom he would, he kept alive. Whom he would, he raised up, and whom he would, he humbled. But when his heart was lifted up and his spirit was hardened so that he dealt proudly, he was brought down from his kingly throne, and his glory was taken from him. He was driven from among the children of mankind, and his mind was made like that of a beast, and his dwelling was with the wild donkeys. He was fed grass like an ox, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, until he knew that the Most High God rules the kingdom of mankind, and sets over it whom he will. And you, his son, Belshazzar, have not humbled your hearts, though you knew all this. But you have lifted up yourself against the Lord of heaven. And the vessels of his house have been brought in before you, and you and your lords, your wives, and your concubines have drunk wine from them. And you have praised the gods of silver and gold, of bronze, iron, wood, and stone, which do not see or hear or know. But the God in whose hand is your breath, and whose are all your ways, you have not honored. Then from his presence the hand was sent, and this writing was inscribed. And this is the writing that was inscribed. Mene, Mene, Tekel, and Parsin. This is the interpretation of the matter. Mene, God has numbered the days of your kingdom and brought it to an end. Tekel, you have been weighed in the balances and found wanting. Paris, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Then Belshazzar gave the command, and Daniel was clothed with purple. A chain of gold was put around his neck, and a proclamation was made about him that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. That very night, Belshazzar, the Chaldean king, was killed, and Darius the Mede received the kingdom, being about 62 years old. Daniel 6. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 satraps to be throughout the whole kingdom, and over them 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was one, to whom these
That's what
satraps
it
should look
said.
up, so that the king
Jew
might
of
suffer
heaven.
loss. Then this Daniel became distinguished above all the other presidents and satraps, because an excellent spirit was in him. And the king planned to set him over the whole kingdom. Then the presidents and the satraps sought to find a ground for complaint against Daniel with regard to the kingdom. But they could find no ground for complaint or any fault, because he was faithful, and no error or fault was found in him. Then these men said, "We shall not find any ground for complaint against this Daniel, unless we find it in connection with the law of his God. Then these presidents and satraps came by agreement to the king and said to him, O King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the prefects, and the satraps, the counselors, and the governors are agreed that the king should establish an ordinance and enforce an injunction that whoever makes petition to any god or man for 30 days except to you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the injunction and sign the document so that it cannot be changed according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which cannot be revoked. Therefore King Darius signed the document and injunction. When Daniel knew that the document had been signed, he went to his house where he had windows in his upper chamber open toward Jerusalem. He got down on his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he had done previously. Then these men came by agreement and found Daniel making petition and plea before his God. Then they came near and said before the king concerning the injunction, O king, did you not sign an injunction that anyone who makes petition to any god or man within 30 days except to you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, The thing stands fast according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which cannot be revoked. Then they answered and said before the king, Daniel, who is one of the exiles from Judah, pays no attention to you, O king, or the injunction you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was much distressed, and set his mind to deliver Daniel. And he labored till the sun went down to rescue him. Then these men came by agreement to the king and said to the king, Know, O king, that it is a law of the Medes and Persians that no injunction or ordinance that the king establishes can be changed. Then the king commanded, and Daniel was brought and cast into the den of lions. The king declared to Daniel, May your God whom you serve continually deliver you. And a stone was brought and laid on the mouth of the den. And the king sealed it with his own signet, and with the signet of his lords, that nothing might be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace, and spent the night fasting. No diversions were brought to him, and sleep fled from him. Then at break of day, the king arose and went in haste to the den of lions. As he came near to the den where Daniel was, he cried out in a tone of anguish. The king declared to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God whom you serve continually been able to deliver you from the lions? Then Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, and they have not harmed me, because I was found blameless before him, and also before you, O king. I have done no harm. Then the king was exceedingly glad, and commanded that Daniel be taken up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no kind of harm was found on him, because he had trusted in his God. And the king commanded, and those men who had maliciously accused Daniel were brought in and cast into the den of lions, they, their children, and their wives. And before they reached the bottom of the den, the lions overpowered them and broke all their bones in pieces. Then King Darius wrote to all the peoples, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, Peace be multiplied to you. I make a decree that in all my royal dominion people are to tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, enduring forever. His kingdom shall never be destroyed, and his dominion shall be to the end. He delivers and rescues. He works signs and wonders in heaven and on earth. He who has saved Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Daniel 7. In the first year of Belshazzar.
Okay. Well, that's enough danning for today. I was going to get into this ectopic life. I started it last week, so if you missed it, go back and read or listen. But yeah, I mean, this tiny little book, he has this doofus little fuck, Fortenberry, believes he has discovered what no other gynecologist, what no other doctor has. And I'm telling you, it is a frustrating read, and I will begin next week. We've gone a little long today. There was just so much to address, so many things to go over. I just couldn't resist. I had to address each and every one of them. But yeah, we'll pick it up next week, and I'll read of it. I'll make it a point. If I start getting distracted, please warn me. So anyway, yes, it was a good day today. Thank you so much for tuning in and not tuning out. We'll see you all next week. Take care. And with that, I will say Good night.
Sitting throwing rocks across the pavement, hoping it'll cave and swallow me whole. Wondering why my mind keeps on spinning. This is how I live into me.